All right. What's going on, ladies? Good morning. Good afternoon. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. As you can see by the title over here, today's masterclass, this week's masterclass, we are covering 3 ways to break the cycle of emotional eating. Now, if you're watching me live right now, comment live down below. If you're watching me on the replay at some point in the future, like most of you will be, comment replay down below in the comments. Now, this is a big one. This is something that I have so many ladies coming to me with as a challenge, as an obstacle. You know, Chris, I keep finding myself reaching for food as a response for feeling stressed or emotional, and it's causing me, much detriment when it comes to me losing 30 to 100 pounds, lowering my A1C and achieving remission, getting off meds. So this is something that I wanted to cover. This is something which I think deserved its own standalone masterclass. Okay, now, if you've got any questions at any point, through this masterclass, please do comment those down below. I don't want you leaving any more confused than when you came. All right. So if you've got any questions, any concerns, please do just comment those down below. Okay. So I think it's to cover the fact that what we're about to discuss is there's over 4,000 of you inside this group, okay? And what we're just about to discuss can be a slightly different experience for each and every one of you, okay? So this usually, honestly, requires, one-to-one coaching, okay? This is how we're able to help the ladies that we coach to help them, break the cycle of emotional eating. But that's done via, a lot of one-to-one coaching over several months. Okay, many of you ladies have found yourself experiencing this, what we're talking about right now, for many years, decades, even some of you. Now, something that we've been doing for decades isn't going to take several weeks to undo. It's not going to take several weeks. Just like, gaining weight doesn't happen overnight, losing that weight can't happen overnight either. So what I'm just about to walk through, there is no magic bullet. There is no magic bullet. It doesn't exist. There isn't one thing that you can do. This is conscious effort. It's going to take conscious effort and work from you to break the cycle of emotional eating. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm just going to double check my phone so that I can see, who's here, who's watching, etc. Again, if you are watching, comment hello if you can see me, if you can hear me. All right, Rose, I can see you're live. Fantastic. Hope you're having a great day. So let's get into it. Now, again, if you're watching live or on the replay, let me know down below. The first thing that we're going to be covering, okay, is labels and internal dialogue, rather. Okay, so the language that we use with ourselves defines us. Okay, the language that you use with yourself defines you. Any statement which starts with "I am" is a deeply embedded belief that you have about yourself. Okay, let me say that again. Any statement that starts with "I am" is a deeply embedded belief that you have about yourself. Okay, so if you say, "I am an emotional eater," I am an emotional eater, this is probably one of the most detrimental statements that we can say or think, because this is defining. I am. The truth is, you are not an emotional eater. You are not an emotional eater. What I mean by that is this statement solidifies that you are. It is definitive. It is certain. End of case. I am an emotional eater. Nothing can be done about it. This is who I am. That is not true. It's not true. It's a load of BS. Okay, to put it frankly. You have a tendency to reach for food when you are feeling stressed or emotional. It ends there. There's no more language. Nothing. I have a tendency to reach for food when I am feeling stressed or emotional. This is really important because if you do not work on changing this internal language and dialogue, you are never going to change because that is who you are. If you continue to label yourself as an emotional eater, you are not going to change because that is who you are. That is who you believe you are. It's not going to change. So this is one of the most important parts of changing, of breaking this cycle. And this sounds really quite insignificant, but it's not. It's not. Like I said at the start, any statement that starts with I am is a deeply embedded belief that you have about yourself. And if you believe at the very core that you are an emotional eater, then how are you ever going to move away from that? You're not. So this is the first thing that we're going to be working on. This is the first thing I want you to work on over the rest of this year, over the whole of 2023. I want you to work on changing that internal language and dialogue. That's the first thing. Does that make sense? If so, comment labels down below. Okay? Whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay, doesn't matter. If it makes complete sense, comment labels down below. If you don't, I'm going to assume that you're confused, that you kind of don't understand it. And that's fine. But let me know down below if that is the case and I can help you understand it. Okay, again, I'm doing this to help. I don't want you to leave any more confused than when you came. Okay, so that's the first thing. Labels, changing the labels and internal dialogue. The second thing is managing the stress and managing the emotion at which you are experiencing at that point in time. Because if you are reaching for food as a result of feeling stressed or emotional, if we can manage that without the need of food, then that's pretty darn important, right? That's a big part of breaking that cycle. Okay, now what do I really mean by this? Now, the truth is, you don't have stress, you do stress. Okay, you don't have stress, you do stress. And I've done a whole masterclass on managing stress, so I'm not going to go into it in too much detail because that's here in the group. But when you are distressed by an external thing, it's not the thing that bothers you, but instead your perception of it. Okay, let me say that again. When you are distressed by an external thing, it's not the thing that bothers you, only your perception of it. Okay? Does that make sense? Once you understand this, and this will make more sense in a minute, stress is a choice. And you can let that trigger you, or you can let that empower you and allow that to make you feel like you are the one in control. You know, empower you. Which one do you? Which path do you want to take? Because the truth is, when we are stressed, we're usually stressing, feeling emotional or overwhelmed around things which have either happened or they are going to happen. Okay, they've already happened in the past, or they're going to happen in the future, and you can't do anything about it. There's nothing you can do about it. So you've got two choices. You've only got two. You can continue to ruin your own day, your own week, your own month, or you can choose for that not to happen. The thing is going to happen, or it has happened. There is nothing I can do about that. All I can do is change the way I feel about this. That's it. Now, is this a light switch moment where you never ever feel stressed, emotional, or overwhelmed ever again? No. But what we're wanting to do is cut down the period of time at which you are experiencing this from, being a whole week to maybe just being a day, from being a whole day to maybe just being an hour. Stress is something that you can control. You are the one who is under the control of how much stress you experience. That's what I mean when I say stress is a choice. Again, you can let that trigger you or empower you. Which one do you choose? Does that make sense? Does that make sense, ladies? The truth is that reaching for food when we feel stressed or emotional is a learned behavior. You were not born with the habit of reaching for food, of the connection of reaching for food when you feel stressed or emotional. That is a learned habit. It's a learned behavior. It's a learned habit. Anything which is recurring, anything that happens, on a regular basis is by definition a habit. And reaching for food when feeling stressed or emotional is one of those. And it is, again, a learned behavior. It might be learned from when you were a child, from when you were a teenager, from when you're an adult. It can be learned from anywhere. When you were a child and you felt emotional and upset, you had an accident, you fell over, you were hurt, your parents gave you, some food. Here you go. This will make you feel better. And in the moment, that is incredibly harmless. But what that does is that creates the association between feeling upset, emotional, and reaching for food. Once you've made that connection, every time you fulfill that action again, that is another vote for you being that person. Okay? Because every vote, every action you take, whether it be good or bad, is a vote for that person that you become. Okay, every action that you take, whether it be a good action or whether it be a negative action, is a vote for the person that you wish to become. So if you keep taking that action of reaching for food when feeling stressed or emotional, that is the person at which you become internally, which is why we want to change this. Okay, I hope that makes sense, ladies. All right, so we've discussed the first two. Okay, we've discussed the language and internal dialogue. We've discussed managing that stress. And again, I've done a whole masterclass on this, 40 minutes long, managing stress. I could talk about it here for another hour. Okay, but if you want, you can find the other masterclass in the group. I can always tag you in it if you want. Okay, I can always tag you in that or send it to you. All right. Now, moving on onto the third point at which we're going to be covering today inside this masterclass. Create some space. Now, what do I mean by that? So, first of all, I mean, this could be called whatever you want it to be called. It could be called mindful eating for all you want. Okay, call it mindful eating if you want, but stop. When you're in this state of feeling stressed or emotional and wanting to reach for food, stop. In your track, just stop. Because in this moment, you are being reactive. And we want to go to a proactive state of mind. Okay? Ask yourself, am I feeling stressed or emotional? Acknowledge that with yourself. This takes not even 20 seconds, 10 seconds. Am I feeling stressed or emotional? Acknowledge that with yourself. Am I actually hungry? If this were an apple, would I eat it? And last but not least, an hour from now, will I be happy with my choice to eat whatever it is that I'm reaching for? Now, is this going to work 100% of the time? No. But if it helps 50% of the time, then that is huge. Over time, what we want to do is break the association between food and feeling stressed or emotional. We want to break that habit, just like with any other habit of reaching for food, that as being the first response when we are feeling stressed or emotional. Okay? So stop, create some space, some time for you to really think about it. Okay, write this down. And in that moment, ask yourself, am I feeling stressed or emotional? Yeah, you know what? I am. Am I actually hungry? If this were an apple, would I actually want it? Nah, I wouldn't. An hour from now, will I be happy with my choice of eating, these 3 Dunkin' Donuts? No, you know what? It's going to suck. It's not actually going to fix anything. It's not going to fix anything. It's only going to make it worse. You know what? I don't want this. I don't want this. That's the outcome at which we want. Again, if that helps 50% of the time, that's huge. We just want to break the association between stress and emotional and reaching for food. Okay. If we was to continue to think about creating some space, we could journal. Yeah, buy yourself a journal. When you sat in the house in the evening and you're experiencing stress or emotion and you've got access to the cupboard where the pantry where the food is, grab out your journal. Write for 2 minutes about how you're feeling. Express that externally onto a piece of paper. Can I do anything about it? No, I can't. Nothing I can do about this stress or emotion. There's nothing I can do about this event, rather. I can do something about the stress and emotion. It's the event that I cannot do anything about. Yes? How do I choose to experience the rest of my evening? Journal. Get down those thoughts onto a piece of paper. You know, go out for a 5-minute walk. You know, a change of environment might really help. You know, do some chores might help. Are all of these things practical all the time? No, you can't just get up and go for a walk when you're struggling at work with stress. But you can't just get out your journal and always just write. But in the odd scenario, you will be able to. But guess what you can always do? You can always practice this right here. This that's on the screen right now. You can always practice its opposite. This over here. Let me make it bigger. Yeah, you can always practice this. Guess what else we can always practice? Going the wrong way. Your perception. You can always practice and be mindful of how we are perceiving the events that are happening around us. When you are distressed by an external thing, it's not the event that bothers you, but your perception of it. You don't have stress, you do stress. Okay? We want to think about the language that we're using with ourselves. None of you ladies are emotional eaters. You have the tendency to reach for food when you are feeling highly stressed or emotional. It is not who you are, definitive, end of case. It is just something that you have done in the past, something that you are now trying to work through. Okay? All right. Now, again, you know, I've tried to make this as applicable to as many people as possible. Lots of what we're talking about here requires, you know, some one-to-one coaching to really move through. Okay? There might be some self-worth that comes into this, because if you are struggling with self-worth, then reaching for the food is something that you're going to do more often, because that proves to yourself that you are not deserving at that time that you are thinking, I don't deserve this, I am not worth this, I'm going to reach for this food because this proves to me that I am not worth it. These things are different solutions. Okay, and I can do a masterclass all about, you know, moving through trauma, moving through things like self-worth, etc. You know, I can do a masterclass on that if you ladies would like. Obviously for in the future at some point. I did run a poll the other week, and we're going to be running the masterclass which got on the top of the poll with that as well. Okay, so like I was saying, some of these things require one-to-one coaching. If you would like to grab a coffee, sit down one day and have a 10-minute chat on Zoom, you know, so that I can see if or how I might be able to support you with these things, then comment coaching down below and we can do that. But this is just a chat, just like you would with a friend. Okay, that really is all that is. Now, if this has made complete sense, if you found this helpful, please do comment helpful down below. Any questions, any concerns, please do let me know. Again, ladies, you know, I do this to help you. I don't want you leaving any more confused than when you came. So please do please do comment any questions or concerns down below. All right. Let's catch up on some comments quickly, and then I must rendezvous. I think that's the word, rendezvous. Rose, yes, a masterclass on self-worth would be awesome. Great, I can get that done. Maria, that makes perfect sense. Shelley, you are what you tell yourself. Exactly. Christina, hello. Awesome, ladies. All right. Listen, I'll speak to you all soon. We've got a live client interview with Michelle, one of the ladies that we coach on Thursday. So I look forward to that. You know, Michelle sharing her experiences, how she's managed to be so successful in losing weight, lowering her A1C, and feeling like, you know, a whole new her. So I'm looking forward to delivering that to you, ladies, and you know, talking to Michelle about that experience and how she achieved those things. We've got lots of really exciting masterclasses coming up in the rest of 2022. It's not over yet, and obviously into 2023. All right, so look out for those. Listen, ladies, I'll wrap it up here. Otherwise, I'll be talking for another 10 minutes. Have an awesome day, whatever day it is that you're watching me. Remember, doesn't matter whether you're watching live or on the replay. I want to know, did you find it helpful? Have you got any questions? Comment those below the video down here. All right, ladies, take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.